Hey guys, CR Classics here, back with another video. I know there's been a little period where I haven't uploaded, but please bear with me. This video I'm going to be telling you what I've been up to with my 1979 Lotus Esprit S2 and why there's been that little gap in my upload schedule. I've been on a couple of adventures with the car, one with someone in the Lotus world who you may know, and one with someone you may not know, but you may know in the future. I've also been having some little engine problems, which I'm going to be telling you about, which are getting towards being solved, and a few other little things that I've been doing with the car as I'm coming up on 8 or 9 months ownership now with it. So yeah, quite a way in there, but this video is going to be the first actual update that I've done on the car on what we've been doing and what I'm planning to do with it. So hope you enjoy. So guys, let's start with our first little adventure. Now, I think it was about a month ago, I agreed to do a photo shoot with a car identical to mine, another 1979 Lotus Esprit S2 in gold with a champagne interior. Now, this car belongs to a good friend of mine who lives only about 5 or 6 miles away from me, which is a crazy story in itself. I mean, it was the car that you may have seen on my Instagram that I met up with the gentleman when I had my +2. I saw his car in the lay-by, left a little note on it, said I've got a Lotus 2, I'm in this area, please give me a ring, it'd be lovely to meet up, I love your car. And he did, and I took the +2 over there and we had a nice cup of coffee and talked about both the cars, and I absolutely fell in love with his car. And that was one of the little things that nudged me to have a look online, have a look on eBay, Car and Classic, even Facebook Marketplace, things like that, for an Esprit. Just dreaming really, and then I found this one. But anyway, I agreed with with my friend that I do this photo shoot with him because he's spent a rather large amount of money on his car, adding all sorts of cool little features to it while keeping it relatively original. He's had a full engine rebuild and added a little bit of power in there as well. It looks exactly the same as mine, apart from he's got slightly bigger custom wheels on it. He's got little things like Apple CarPlay, reversing camera, cool things like that. Anyway, so I said I'd do a photo shoot with him for a magazine called Absolute Lotus, who you may remember I did a shoot with them when I had the +2. Must have been a year ago, a couple of years ago now, a little while back anyway. And I did it with a really nice guy called Ian, a real Lotus enthusiast and a great journalist and writer. So the car, we've been having some issues with it. Our mechanic was struggling to get it going to a stage where we'd be happy with it, and it was having this problem where it felt like a low RPM. It was dropping down onto 2 of the carburetors instead of all 4. So that's half the power. It's dropping onto the 2 cylinders. So that wasn't good. And we weren't happy with how it was running. It wasn't very consistent. It was starting some days on first or second turn, other days it wasn't starting at all and had to be jump started. On this day, admittedly, it had to be jump started, but I thought as it was going, it's 5-6 miles down the road, let's do it. It's lovely weather. Ian had come all the way from God knows where to do the photo shoot, so I thought, right, let's do it. Got there, the car was playing up a little bit on the way, misfiring and the like, but it got us there. So we pulled onto the drive, had a nice cup of tea, talked about both cars, talked about the plan of action as far as taking the shots were. And when I hopped in it to start the car, it started. Needed jump starting from Mark's car, so already the starting issue was becoming quite annoying and embarrassing on the day, but very nice, very kindly, both of them helped us get it started and took us to a village hall up the road where we were shuffling the cars round, and in the car park this died. and jump starting it, nothing would get it going again. And we were having people call in while driving past because it was by a main road. So we'd had a couple of people pull in, seeing two, gold Lotus Esprits next to each other. So a few people were calling in saying, "Oh, what lovely cars, what are you doing, have you had them long?" Just talking about the cars. A couple of people who I'd spoken to on Instagram and seen at shows, and really, really nice guys. And then this one chap pulled in who knew the friend of mine who had the other Esprit, and said, "Oh, what are you guys doing? Are you having a photo shoot?" And I said, "Yeah, we are, but my blooming car's playing up. Typical Lotus, what everyone says, lots of trouble and all of that. And I'm out there trying to prove that theory wrong." And he said, "Oh, well, that's interesting. Would you mind if I had a look at it?" So I said, "Yeah, please, be my guest." I was at this point thinking it was going to be a trailer job to get us home and the whole day was going to be written off. And he said, "Oh, I'm just on my way to Bristol to do some work for." It was a roundabout. He did a lot of engine rebuilds for a company who restores these cars. So, and he was on his way to Bristol to do that work on a car pretty much the same as this. So he had a whole boot full of parts, which is pretty crazy considering how rare these cars are. And the guy drives by, happens to call in, who has a whole boot full of parts for it. Crazy. But anyway, he got to work on it. Turned out he had the parts we needed. And already I could tell this guy was like completely different to the mechanic I use. I love the mechanic I use. He's been brilliant on the Plus 2, the 2 MGs I've had. But this car, admittedly, slightly out of his depth, which he admitted when we first brought him the car anyway. But this guy just seemed to know exactly what he was looking for, and it was, he had a plan. He's a man with a plan. So he got the car running to get us home. But yeah, crazily enough, he had things like a rotor arm in the back of the car. He had a set of plugs in the back of the car, which is, just crazy in itself. But anyway, he did enough to get us home. The car still wasn't happy, okay? But we managed to do the drive-bys for the photo shoot, and that article on my friend's car and my car will be coming out, I think, in about 4 or 5 weeks in Absolute Lotus, so make sure you check it out. So, on to the next bit. So, admittedly, after struggling on the day of the photo shoot, and like I said, after changing the few little things he changed and tested the few little things he tested, checking for sparks, changing the plugs, checking things like the distributor, checking the carbs, checking the battery, which was the main issue that we thought it could have been, because we're playing with the idea of getting a new battery, but it turns out after a few days of him offering very kindly to come over here and work on the car, we narrowed down a few things. So the things we've changed is we've changed the car over to electronic ignition, so changed the distributor, so it's a completely different system now, which, to be fair, I wanted to do that anyway, and this has just sort of given me a big nudge into doing that. We have the main big thing, actually, as you'll see, I'll show you a video closer up. These carburetors aren't the carburetors that I bought the car with. These are a temporary pair that had just been rebuilt by the lovely gentleman who stopped and helped us. He's now doing the work on the engine. He offered to put these on to test if the problem was still there. If it was, then the issue isn't with the carburetors. If it wasn't, then the issue was with the old carbs. We didn't think this would really make that much of a difference, because one of the main reasons we bought the car was because of the condition of the engine and the work that was done. So the main bit of work that was done was the carburetors were new carburetors. They'd had a full rebuild before the car was sold to me. However, what we found is they were rebuilt with quite a cheap kit. There's two kits you can get for a carburetor rebuild. One's, I think, a full rebuild kit, and the other one's just like a rubber replacement and sort of not everything, not a full rebuild, a part rebuild. So what he's done is put the carburetors on that he's just fully rebuilt to see if they work, and they do. And the carburetors are running fully now, so on all four, which is brilliant. He's, like I said, changed the starter motor, changed the distributor. We've now got a new alternator, ta-da, which came yesterday, which is waiting to be fitted. So it's a fully rebuilt thing. So it'll actually look lovely compared to the rusty thing that's in there now. So that'll make the engine look a lot smarter anyway. So the other thing is the airbox is off. You may think, why? Good question. Basically, the car didn't have any trumpets, and the trumpets are, like I said, I'm not very mechanically minded, but I am trying to learn, so bear with me. The trumpets are the bits that go on the end of the carburetors here, which help filter the air that goes into the carbs, I think. This guy coming over and doing all the engine work is actually brilliant for me, because I can just stand over him and annoy him and poke him with loads of little questions about what he's doing, which he probably doesn't think as highly of as I do. But anyway, he's an absolute genius who has saved the day with this car, basically, and saved the day on that photo shoot. So we were able to get the shots we needed, and he is now doing miraculous work on this engine bay. I'll show you a few close-ups while I'm nattering on here, so you can see the work that's been done. Another little thing is that we need to get a way of putting this little air pipe that goes into the air filter. Get a little strap for that, because at the moment it's not strapped on. It's not strapped into there, so it's a little pipe in there which goes into the air filter. But we need to get a little collar for that, so it doesn't keep slipping out, because if that's slipping out, then the engine's just sucking in hot air from its own engine bay, which is never ever good. And that's relating to a similar problem that we had on our next adventure, which I'm going to tell you about now. So guys, the next adventure was the adventure with the famous YouTuber. So as some of you may remember on this channel, I think I did a little video about it. I did a video review, or arranged a video review with a guy called James, or Jayemmoncars as he's known in the social media world. That was about a year ago, and since I have had this, I really wanted him to review it, because he's never reviewed a Lotus Esprit before. He's done hundreds and hundreds of cars, but he's never done one of these. So I got in there early and said, James, when this is running, or when you can do, and when this whole COVID thing's over, let me know when you're around my area and we'll do a video. So he did. And we planned for I think it was the 29th of June, towards the end of June, so it's about a week and a half ago. And this wasn't too long after I've been having the work done, or the issues that I'd had with the previous photo shoot. But I thought, look, James is coming from a long way. I've had all this work done. Let's do it. Let's get it done. I'm excited about this one. I love film. I love YouTube. I love James. Love his channel. I watch almost every video that he does. It's what I'd love to do. It's a dream job for me. A lot of hard work, but a dream job nonetheless. But the day before the photo shoot was the day that my Messiah of the Lotus world was over doing some work on the engine bay, and he just swapped over the carburetors. So like I said before, the carburetors that are on the car now are not my carburetors. My carburetors, although when I bought the car they said they were rebuilt, they weren't rebuilt in the proper way. So mine are now off being rebuilt in the proper way by the guys doing all the work on this. And the carburetors that are on it now have been rebuilt, but they don't look as nice. They're not as silvery, they're not as clean, and I wanted mine back. So they're being rebuilt and they're going to be fitted to the car in the coming days. But however, for the photo shoot, it was having those carburetors on it that were put on the car the day before, tuned to idle, not tuned for performance or tuned for engine temperature or this car or anything, just stuck on there to run, which wasn't ideal. And you got to think as well, the car didn't have the air box on it, so it didn't really have any cooling, as it didn't have the trumpets or the air box, so it's sucking in air from its own engine bay. So something was bound to happen. The car took us through our city, which we had to go through to get to the place where I'd agreed to meet James. Car ran like a dream, really, really, really good. Got there, did the standing shots, so all the photos and videos of the car as it is, not moving. The next stage was for James to take it out, do his piece to camera, where he sits in the car, drives the car, tests it, puts it through its paces, talks to everyone while he does it, which is the bit I was a little bit worried about, because he does test the car. That's the main word in there, which is not a bad thing, because that's what you want as a viewer of that channel. Every car he gets in, you want him to test it. There's no point going in it and just poodling around and saying, yep, it's brilliant. This is a sports car, a performance car. It's meant to be tested. It's meant to be, it's meant to be going fast and being pushed. So James did exactly that. Came back, said it was amazing, it was brilliant, loved the car. Well, you'll see in his review that's coming out in a few weeks on his channel. He loved the car, really, really liked it, but he said towards the end, he said it was misfiring a little bit and it was getting a bit hot in the cabin. And he said he could smell a little something. So he pulled in, he said the video's done, he said it's fine, all we need to do is some drive-by shots. So that's where he ducks in and out of hedges and gets the shots where I drive it down lovely roads, and yeah, he gets those shots. So the car, it turns out, had overheated, and I thought on the day the best thing was to take it home, let it rest. James was here for the week, let's just film it on another day. So that's what we did. So we agreed to meet him on an evening. We went, and although it was absolutely raining it down, when we got there, there was just felt like a monsoon. We got there, we were sat outside having a nice drink at a lovely pub. James had just bought a very, very lovely car along, which we were talking about and looking around, and there was a lovely Lotus Evora as well parked in the car park, which I'll show you a photo of on screen now. So yeah, we were sat having a drink, and then it was like monsoon season started. It was crazy. But then we just thought, oh, right, let's just have a meal, wait for it to blow over, and then go out, film the other bits. And that's what we did. We filmed them in very tricky conditions and very tricky areas. It was in a woodland, actually. So yeah, it was challenging for the car. And it was getting dark as well. I mean, the footage he got will look awesome, because he's a great photographer, brilliant with a camera. He knows the shots he wants to get. And we had some with the pop-up lights up as well, which will be really, really cool. So keep an eye out for that video on James's channel. So that's Jayemmoncars on YouTube. So that was the next adventure. But the car did perform well on that second day. But it's just these little things, like I really want to get that new alternator on it. I want to, use it a bit more, take it to a few shows, get my carburetors back on it, get it tuned to a level where you know, I don't have to worry about it. Get the trumpets on the end of the carburetors so I can put that airbox on so it's actually sucking in air that's going to cool down the engine. So it's not going to be struggling. But apart from that, honestly, since I first had it, I thought it was amazing when I first got it. You've probably seen my old videos. I loved it. But now it's just a different car, a really, really, truly different car. And it's the crazy world of Lotus that I've got to thank for that. Just this guy driving past, thought he'd stop in, saw 2 Gold Esprits, thought he'd pull over, stop, have a chat with us, see what we were up to, and it turns out he had all the bits of my car in his boot, and he was on his way to do some work on pretty much the same car. What are the chances? That's all I keep saying in the Lotus world is what are the chances, because it's just an amazing, crazy world that I'm not sure I could ever leave. I think every classic car I have is going to have that Lotus badge on it, because it just gets better and better, the ownership of these. So yeah, that was the other adventure. So guys, there you go. There's a little bit of a update on what I've been up to with this Esprit. Still can't believe I'm saying that. Crazy. But just a little bit of an update on what I've been doing with the car, the troubles I've had, the crazy experiences I've had, like that guy calling in, just dropping by, seeing 2 cars together, and then changing my whole outlook on this car and the way it drives and everything. Like I said, just another crazy Lotus story to go along with a crazy car. And look, things just seem to be getting better and better for Lotus. I saw a couple of days ago they released the Amira, which, man, I mean, having this and an Amira, that's a dream carriage, no? I mean, I just absolutely love that car. I think they've taken little cool bits from Porsche, from Ferrari, from McLaren, all little bits from those cars and put them into one. And starting at around the £60,000 mark, I think that's a pretty good deal, if you ask me. I'll definitely be on that configurator for sure. So make sure you guys check that out. But yeah, this has just been a little update on me and my Lotus Esprit S2. I'm going to try and make some more regular videos, guys. I can't leave it 2 months again, as that is really bad, and I'm sorry for that. But yeah, hopefully I start going to some shows now with the car. Now it's running a lot better, and I'm getting more and more confidence in it, and we're having some decent weather now. So yeah, anything else you'd like me to show you with the car or like to see me do with the car, just let me know. Any questions you have, fire my way. Any advice you have, fire my way in the comments. Be sure to look out for the Absolute Lotus magazine with these 2 in it. I mean, you can't really miss it. It's going to have 2 Gold Esprits in it, so eyes out for that. I think that'll be about 4 weeks from now, maybe. And then keep an eye out as well for this car's review on James's channel. That's Jayemmoncars on YouTube, so eyes out for that. It'll be quite interesting now, you know, a bit of the backstory to both things as well. So yeah, eyes out, guys, and yeah, please like and subscribe and all that stuff. Really means the world to me. Watching those subscribers go up is just crazy. I still can't believe I'm at 350 something at the moment, so that's still crazy to me. Everyone who subscribes means the world. So yeah, really appreciate it, guys. I'll be seeing you again very soon, but it's been CR Classics out.